everyone, it's Julianne here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited that not only is today my birthday, but that I'm bringing you another card for my Halloween card making series. For my card today, I've created this all things Halloween birthday slimline card in order to celebrate my birthday. Now, as you see in this title, I do have a huge giveaway for 2 lucky winners, so make sure to stick around to the end of the video to get all of the details. Now for my card today, I am going to be using one of my favorite stamp sets for my card, which is the Piece of Cake stamp set from Honeybee Stamps. I like creating a special Halloween themed card for my birthday each year, and this year was no different. I'm going to start out by stamping a bunch of cupcake images, as well as the cupcake wrappers, and I'm going to be stamping each one of those using some Versamark ink, so that way I can heat emboss each of the images using some gold embossing powder. Once I've stamped enough cupcakes, I'm then going to be using a newer stamp set from Simon Says Stamp, the Happy Haunting stamp set, and I'm going to be stamping the 2 adorable ghost images that are included in this stamp, as well as the pumpkin images that are included in the Nuts About You stamp set from Honeybee Stamps. And I'm also going to be stamping those images using some more of that Versamark ink, so that way I can heat emboss them as well. So once I have each of my images stamped out using that Versamark ink, I'm then going to add some Gina K gold embossing powder to each one of my images, and then I'm going to heat set them using my heat tool. Now before I bring my heat tool to my cardstock, I just like to have it off to the side heating up for about 20 to 30 seconds. That way I know it's good and hot before I use it. Now as I'm embossing, I'm going to constantly move my heat tool back and forth. That way I don't keep it in one area for too long. And I'm also going to be moving my cardstock from side to side to make sure that I'm embossing all of my images. So I'm going to be looking for that gold shininess. If it doesn't have that, that just means that it's still powder and I just need to emboss that area a little bit longer. So now I'm going to start working on my Copic coloring. Now I definitely wanted to keep with the Halloween theme for my card today because I am truly obsessed with Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. So I'm going to be coloring in my images in colors that I personally associate with Halloween, which is of course black, orange, and purple, but I'm also going to be adding in some lime green as well as a little bit of yellow. Now for all of my coloring today, I am going to have each of my marker caps off to the side of the screen so that you can follow along with the color combinations that I'm using if you are interested. And I'm just going to put on some music and I'll be right back. Now, I originally stamped and heat embossed those cupcake wrappers onto that Express It blending cardstock that you saw earlier, and I went and colored in one of them using some toner gray markers, but I really just didn't like how that looked. I really thought that it was too plain for my card. So here I'm going to be re-stamping those cupcake wrappers onto some pattern paper using some more of that Versamark ink, and I made sure that I picked patterns that had the same colors that I had colored in my frosting for each of my cupcakes. Now, once I have each of those stamped out for a total of 4 cupcake wrappers, I'm then going to be heat embossing them again using some more of that Gina K gold embossing powder. I just love how those cupcake wrappers look with that gold embossing powder. They may be a little busy of a pattern for some people, but I really like the patterns that I picked out. Next, I'm going to be fussy cutting out each of my images. Besides the pumpkins, I do have the coordinating dies for the Nuts About You stamp set, but I don't have the coordinating dies for the other 2 stamp sets. But I found that these images were pretty easy to fussy cut out, so it wasn't too much of an issue for me. But trust me, this girl definitely prefers coordinating die sets for sure. So once I'm finished fussy cutting out each one of my images, next is my favorite part of this card, and that's where I decided to pull out some of my Lawn Fawn chunky glitter, and I'm going to be adding that to each one of my cupcakes, as well as those spooky little ghosts. I really wanted them to be extra sparkly, and I definitely think I achieved that with this glitter for sure. So I'm just going to be adding some liquid adhesive, and I'm going to add that to my images where I know that I want the glitter to be. So once I'm happy with where I've placed that adhesive, I'm then just going to pour on that glitter over my images, and then I'm just going to tap off any excess. Now, in order to contain the glitter and not get it all over my work surface, I am going to be using a pair of tweezers in order to hold my images, and I am going to be pouring that glitter onto my images over a coffee filter. That way, any excess that I may have can easily be added back into my container once I'm done. So once I've added that glitter to each one of my images, I am just going to set those off to the side to dry, and then I'm going to start working on the rest of my card. For my background, I'm going to be doing some ink blending. Now I have sped up this part of the video since it is getting quite long. So for my background, I did trim down a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock to 3.5 by 8 3/4 in order to create my slimline background. Now I am going to be using the Trinity Stamps Slimline Lots of Dots stencil set, and I'm going to be ink blending all of those dots using some Wilted Violet along with my blender brushes today. Now once I'm happy with the amount of dots that are on my background, I'm then going to add some more of that Wilted Violet around the edges of my background panel as well. Once I had finished all of my ink blending, I did trim down that background panel to just slightly smaller. That way I could add some more pattern paper to the right and left hand side of my card. Now for that, I did use the Trinity Stamps Slimline Black and White Patterns paper pad, and I just trimmed down one of the black and white stripes patterns down to 2 strips, and I'm just going to be adhering those to both sides of my card before I pop up that ink blended panel onto the center of my slimline card base using some foam adhesive. Next, I'm going to start working on adhering all of my cupcakes as well as the rest of the images down to my background panel in order to create a tower of cupcakes onto my slimline card. Now, when I start adhering everything down, I am going to start at the very top, adhering the cupcakes that are at the top of my tower first, so that way they are directly behind the frosting of the cupcake that is directly below them. Now, obviously, if this were an actual stack of cupcakes, they would just be right on top of one another, but I'm doing them this way because I don't want to cover up any of that coloring that I already did. Now, once I have each of those cupcakes adhered, I am going to be adhering my cupcake stand using some foam adhesive in order to give it a little bit of added dimension. And once that's adhered, I'm then going to be adhering each of those cute little pumpkins that I colored in earlier down at the bottom of my card surrounding the cupcake stand. And finally, I will be adhering those cute ghosts as well. And I'm going to be adhering those behind my cupcake tower in order to look as though they are peeking around from the back. Now that I have everything adhered, in order to complete my card, I did end up adding a sentiment from the Piece of Cake stamp set, and I did pop that up onto my background using some more foam adhesive. And finally, I did scatter a bunch of the black licorice jelly drop heart sequins from Trinity stamps throughout my background. And once I get those all adhered, that's going to complete my Halloween Slimline birthday card that I made in order to celebrate my birthday with all of you. Now, if you have stuck around for the entire video, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And as a thank you, as well as a birthday surprise for 2 lucky winners, I'm going to start going into some detail about the birthday giveaway that I have for all of you. Now, there are going to be 2 separate winners, as I mentioned earlier, and they each are going to be receiving a box full of goodies that I have been collecting for quite some time in order to celebrate my birthday with all of you. Each of the winners is going to be receiving a box of this size that you see here. I only have one box right now when I recorded this, so that's why you only see one. But this box does measure approximately 12 by 8.5 inches. The first place winner is going to be receiving 9 stamp sets, 2 of which are 6 by 8 stamp sets. You're going to be getting multiple dies, some of which are coordinating dies for the stamp sets that will be included. You're going to be receiving 2 to 3 stencils, some embossing powder, some pattern paper, as well as some sequin mixes, and a bunch of just other great goodies that I've included in that box. Now, the second place winner, again, you will be receiving a box as well, but you're going to be receiving 8 stamp sets, 2 of which are also 6 by 8 stamps. You're going to be receiving multiple dies. They are going to be standalone dies, no coordinating dies. You're going to be receiving 2 stencils, some more embossing powder, some more of that wonderful pattern paper, some sequin mixes, and then just a bunch of other goodies that I've come up with. Now, these are going to be for sure what's going to be in your boxes. I am continually adding goodies since I do have 2 more weeks. But how it's going to work is if you could subscribe to my channel, as well as just leave a comment down below to let me know that you've subscribed. That's how you enter into my giveaway. And I will be announcing both of those winners on October 31st, which is Halloween, where I will be posting my last and final video for my Halloween card making series for this year. So again, make sure that you subscribe to my channel, as well as leave a comment down below letting me know that you are a new subscriber or that you're already subscribed in order to be entered. And make sure that you come back for my video on Halloween in order to find out who has won. And their names will be down in the description box below. So I just want to thank you all so much for coming by and spending my birthday with me. I truly do appreciate that you stop by and watch my videos and give me likes and comments. It really does mean so much to me. I just started this channel earlier this year, as most of you know, so I'm constantly just completely surprised that you guys enjoy my videos. It really does mean a lot to me. If you're interested in any of the supplies that I used today, just know that they will all be listed and linked down below in the description box if you are interested. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day and happy crafting.